Thanks for tuning into the 6'3" podcast. I'm your host, Joel, co-host Isaiah and Ben.
What's up?
Since we've concluded the NFL regular season, I have done my stats of the week, but given one stat of the week to every single NFL team. Now, there's 32 of them, so I'm only going to do half of them this week. And I'll start with my NFC East. And the Dallas Cowboys. They were one of 3 teams in NFL history to give up 30 or more touchdowns at home.
Wow.
Yikes.
Bad defense. Not the defense any of us expected if we get to our preseason picks later.
No.
New York Giants. Daniel Jones recorded one of 25 quarterback seasons in NFL history with 11 touchdowns or fewer and at least 400 pass attempts.
Yikes.
Yeah,
That is not a lot of passing touchdowns.
No, and that's hard to do. Like
They didn't score a lot of touchdowns.
11 passing touchdowns in the 40s was good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
11 touchdowns and 24 interceptions in the 40s was good.
yeah, but they were throwing the ball only 150 times. He threw the ball 400 times. So
Yeah.
that's bad.
It could have been a different offense even with if Saquon Barkley didn't get hurt week 1, because Wayne Gallman actually, I think, probably was pretty close in rushing touchdowns to what Daniel Jones was in passing touchdowns.
He had a pretty good year.
Yeah. Philadelphia Eagles. They were the only team in the league with 0 players reaching at least 600 receiving yards.
Oof.
That's rough.
Travis Fulgham was on pace, and some players decided to come back from COVID and injury.
Yeah, they should have just kept him in though, man.
He was injured most of the year.
Okay, because I was going to say, Zach
And
Ertz
even when he was playing, he was terrible.
Sure.
He was
Yeah,
not
he had a
good.
weird year.
Yeah.
Very weird.
I expect him to go to a different team.
I think he's pissed. I don't know how he would ever be happy
I
being.
would love, I know I wouldn't like the Lions to pick him up, but
We're fine at tight end.
any team that picks him up will be if you're throwing a quarterback and get it to him, you have a very top 10 tight end easily.
Sure, no doubt.
Washington football team. Scary Terry McLaurin joined elite wide receiver territory with 2,000 yards in the first 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of 21 receivers since the year 2000 to do so. So pretty much one a year do it.
Yeah, no, he's perfect PPR guy. He's usually racking up 10 catches, 100 yards, pretty solid every single week. So
and there's got to be, even on bad teams, there's got to be a player.
I was going to say they have nobody else. Like Steven Sims is their number 2. That's not great.
Yeah.
They're going to draft a wide receiver this year.
Yeah.
Although it's a good free agent group, too, for wide receivers. So who knows? That thing could change.
Yeah.
Buffalo Bills. Stephon Diggs challenged Randy Moss and Terrell Owens and others for the best debut season on a new team, and was first amongst any NFL wide receiver to a new team in receptions and yardage. So basically, he had more even than Randy Moss and Terrell Owens. Just Randy Moss had 23 touchdowns that year with the Patriots, and Terrell Owens put up 14 touchdowns, I think, with the Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the only stat Diggs was kind of lacking in his passing touchdowns. But other than that, he had
Until he had 3 in the last week.
Yeah, he had an offensive player of the year caliber season besides touchdown passes or receptions.
Yeah, 127 catches is tough to do, and then I think he had 1,600 receiving yards.
Yeah.
Miami Dolphins. Miami's defense allowed 156 fewer points in 2020 than 2019. 156.
10 points.
Good turnaround.
That's 10 points a game.
They still stink, but
Yeah, the offense without Ryan Fitzmagic, not hot.
Right, I know. Tua, I've seen some.
Tua was tanking for Trevor.
I've seen some draft prospects or mock drafts have them picking a quarterback because they have the 3rd pick, which if Justin Fields is there, I don't think is a terrible idea. Because it just, unless you think Tua is the guy.
You can't give up. I don't think there's any chance to give up on Tua right now. Because Tua showed enough promise. It wasn't like Dwayne Haskins where he did nothing.
Just looking at the Dolphins, this is the last time that they hope, obviously, in the next 10 years that they'll be picking this high.
yeah.
Probably, it would hope. Brian Flores has done a lot of good things with the team.
Yeah.
You would think, but I don't. There were some boneheaded things at the end of the year though with Flores, rotating QBs and doing some dumb stuff late in the year that just made no sense. But
they trust in Tua to be their starter. They did not show it in any way.
Yeah.
That's true.
True.
Yeah.
True.
New England Patriots. Cam Newton became the only quarterback in the past 50 years with 8 or fewer passing touchdowns and 10 or more rushing touchdowns.
Also sounds like a 1950s quarterback.
Yeah.
Sid Luckman, it fits right in that profile.
Yep.
Otto Graham, yeah. And then the last for that was AFC North. That's not the North, AFC East. AFC West. What am I doing? AFC East.
NFC South.
Frank Gore extended his lead over Emmitt Smith for the most seasons of at least 500 rushing yards to 16.
He's an ageless wonder, man. Ageless wonder.
I heard reports he is retiring now.
I mean, you would think it's got to be.
I mean, it's going to be Larry Fitzgerald retiring too. It's going to be a pretty good Hall of Fame year in 5 years.
Larry Fitzgerald is not announced yet either, though.
Really? I thought
some guy tried to pin it off, and then Arizona writers came back and said this is not confirmed. Yeah, that tweet blew up too.
Real quick, Devontae Smith just won the Heisman. So
Devontae Smith, okay, all right. Well,
first receiver since 1991.
I was gonna say Irving Fryer or something.
Desmond Howard.
Oh, duh.
Yeah.
Irving Fryer was late 80s. Who am I kidding? Yeah. That sucks that Trevor Lawrence, one of the best quarterbacks in the last decade in college, played 3 years at Clemson and didn't get a Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, I mean he was all COVIDed up this year too, though. That was the problem.
I know he missed a couple games.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do a couple more here. Let's go NFC South. Atlanta Falcons. 8 of the Falcons' 12 losses this year were by 7 or fewer points.
They were just such a weird team. They were in every single game. Like, they should have beat the Chiefs that last game they played them. Yep. They 100% should have beat the Lions. Do not know how that – I mean, I do know. Todd Gurley's an idiot. I mean, just some if you think about it, if a few more things break their way, they probably would have had a pretty solid year, and Dan Quinn might even still have his job. So –
for sure, yeah.
But I don't know. If you look at like the defensive numbers from Dan Quinn versus not with Dan Quinn, I don't know. I heard him a while ago, like before this past game. Like they were ridiculous. Like they were giving up so many passing yards under Dan Quinn, and then without Dan Quinn, they were like serviceable defensively.
Yeah, they're one of those teams that I think we again in our preseason none of us put them in the playoffs though.
No.
But we did expect probably at least a 6-10, 7-9 season.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like the outside looking in, basically. Yeah. Carolina Panthers. Christian McCaffrey was one of 17 players this season with 3 multi-touchdown games, and he only played in 3 games.
All right,
that's impressive.
That's awesome. I mean, obviously the injury thing, but if barring injury, I thought he was going to have another close to historic season.
Offensive Player of the Year candidate for sure.
I mean, for sure. Like, and who knows? I mean, they were pretty bad. They were pretty horrendously bad, actually. But he's probably worth a couple more wins, I would think.
I think they could have been.
I think 7. I think they're another 7 win. If you look at their schedule too, they were in a lot of games. I didn't pull up how many they were like within 7 points or less, but I think there was quite a few that were pretty close too. They played teams
fighting some teams.
That could be. And the thing is with them is they still found success with like Teddy Bridgewater and Mike Davis.
Yep.
Their wide receivers like Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, they all did some stuff this year.
They have a good like offense. Their defense is not good, but they have a pretty solid offense. They might be a team to like watch next year for sure.
Yeah, I agree because the age if developments of Derek Brown and Yetur Gross-Matos, if that goes up, then the defensive pass rush can maybe improve, which helps the secondary. And I think they could use some O-line help, but we'll obviously talk more draft preview as the weeks go on.
It's tough being Joel, you and me were talking about this earlier about the Bengals. Like they're just in such good divisions. Like it's hard to find more wins when. I mean, maybe when Drew Brees retires, the Saints take a step back, but who knows?
Yeah.
Unless they get Matthew Stafford, you never know. Scary. Tampa Bay Bucks. So Tom Brady became the only age 38 or higher quarterback to throw for 40 touchdowns in a season, and he's 43.
Yep. We talked about it earlier. I saw that he had thrown 40. I was like, okay, yeah, nice. And then I hadn't really looked at any of his other stats, but he completed like 66% of his passes. He had like 4,300 yards. Like he was, barring a couple other QBs that played like out of their minds, i.e. Rodgers and obviously Mahomes and, some other guy, maybe I guess Russell Wilson kind of, but he should be right up there. I don't think he would, but he at least probably needs to be talked about MVP wise, which no one's going to talk about it, but to be doing that at age 43 is absurd. So,
yeah.
And then we'll do AFC South here for our last division this week. Houston Texans, every quarterback in NFL history to throw for 4,800 yards and 30 touchdowns had at least 7 wins. Deshaun Watson had 4.
Did you see the video of J.J. Watt and him walking off the field?
Yeah, he apologized to him.
Yeah, and J.J. Watt's like, man, we just wasted an entire season of you.
Yeah.
He's like, we should have had 11 wins. I'm like, well, I don't know about 11, JJ, but you should have had more.
You can still peg a lot of that on Bill O'Brien, but
yep, you can.
We will get to this when we talk about our relook at our predictions. But I obviously was high on the Texans, but still, like, if you would have given him like a fringe playoff team, he'd probably be an MVP candidate for sure.
Yeah,
I think he just needed to touch 8 or 9 wins. He would have had it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor joined an exclusive rookie company with 1,100 yards rushing and 10 rushing touchdowns. That is the 25th of all-time NFL history. So 25 in, the 101 years of NFL. Not bad.
Pretty good. What do you have last week? Like 234 yards or something crazy?
Yeah, him and Derrick Henry were like taking turns passing each other in yards.
If he would have had a little more early success, I think it'd be him and Jefferson for Rookie of the Year.
Or Herbert. Yeah,
Or
Herbert. Herbert's got to be in that conversation.
Yeah.
I think he's going to win it. I think Herbert will win it just because he's a quarterback.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Jaguars. James Robinson recorded the most yards from scrimmage for any undrafted rookie in NFL history.
Wow.
All right. Yeah.
And then the Titans. A.J. Brown joined also the same elite company as Scary Terry with 2,000 yards in his first 2 seasons. And then I did want to add that Derrick Henry, there are 9. He obviously finished first place and broke over 2,000 rushing yards this year.
Yep.
And then there are 8 other running backs behind him. And then you could put him again at 9th place with 1,042 rush yards against just the AFC South. So he had the 9th most rushing yards if you just say
he played against the AFC South this year.
6 games.
Had the 9th most rush yards in the NFL.
6 games, yep.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I mean, he blew up the Texans just by themselves in those 2 games for 462 yards.
Right. And Jacksonville for 300.
Yep. Yeah. Wow. Yep. All right. And then I try to do a couple team ones here to quick finish it. There were the 8 NFL teams sacked the least this year are all in the playoffs.
Up front, that's where you win.
It's got to be in the trenches, yeah.
Yeah.
You protect the quarterback, you got a good chance.
And then in the 55 years, the Super Bowl era, the quarterback who led the league in passing yards never won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of that goes to, like, you look at Watson this year. I mean, they literally had to throw the ball every single down, darn near.
I was going to say, you have to be well-versed all across offense.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could probably – I mean, you can be pass heavy. Like, the Chiefs are definitely pass heavy. The Buccaneers are definitely pass heavy, but like you got to be able to run the ball if that's
you got to be balanced if you want to win Super Bowl.
Exactly.
And then my last one, NFL attendance was close to 1 million, which is down from over 17 million from 2019.
I wonder why. That's really weird.
Is there something going on this year? Fans are just getting sick of football.
Racism happening.
Racism. Jacob Blake.
Yes.
Just this year.
It comes back every 4 years.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, so we'll finish the rest of those next week. And then we will get to